I will once more return to the hollow ground of Yad Vashem to honor 6 million Jewish lives were stolen in the genocide, and continue, which we must do every day, continue to bear witness. To keep alive the truth and honor of the Holocaust, horror of the Holocaust.
I know he went on to say honor whatever. And clearly it was just a gaffe. He got ahead of himself in the speech. He said he said the wrong word first. But how many times can you just keep putting him on stage and letting him fuck up this bad over and over again before somebody's finally like, maybe we should go back to the model of 2021 and just stick him back in the basement and try to forget that he exists?
You know, I agree. You know, I look back though at like, okay, presidents that like I really remember, you know, so like we'll start with like a Bush, you know, Jr. And like his gaffes were like fucking hilarious. Like he'd make up strategery and shit, you know, they're, you know, fool me once. And then we got Obama, and it was so boring with Obama because like he'd misspeak and go, excuse me, and correct himself, you know, like a normal person. And like he just spoke to, I'm like, okay, this isn't fun. Then we got fucking Trump, which he didn't make gaffes. He didn't make mistakes. He meant to say all the insane shit he said. So that was just awesome. But then we got this dude. And like, okay, so I have to wonder, like, obviously people comb through and pick all the good gaffes for us to watch. But I'm really curious, like, the percentage of like speeches he gives. Like, because he doesn't give that many fucking, he doesn't give that many fucking speeches, right? Or I don't know. I guess I don't know how much he talks. Like, to your point of, like, how are they letting him out here and talking? I mean, is this just, like, is he giving a lot of speeches and this is just happening here and there, but we're seeing them all? Or is this, like, every fucking speech he's giving? Because that's what it feels like. Is it's every time they let him out and open his mouth, something like this happens.
I like when he shakes the heir's hand. That's my favorite.
It's so bad, dude. It's horrible.
Did you see where he was getting off the plane in Israel and they're like trying to set him up for like to take a picture or something? He's like, "Where are we? What are we doing?" Right?
So, Steven.
Like somebody needs to turn the mics off when they've got him like just out wandering around. Like they need to do a better job of controlling because you know they're able to. Like they did it for all of 2021. They're able to control the situations where he's out there publicly and where you can actually like hear him speaking and see just what a complete train wreck that the whole thing is.
I like how you started your rant, Dag. Like, let's go back and remember all the presidents that I remember. And you started at George W. Bush. I was like, that wasn't that far ago.
But those are the ones that are like, like those are the ones that are the most prominent. Because what are you can? There wasn't like, at least not that I can remember. There weren't a lot of big like Clinton gaffes. Like other than
you know that one, that one big one.
Wow.
But well, you're right. Also, it's just I don't remember that much of Clinton. I was, you know, a child.
Fair.
So, you know,
like and for George H.W. Bush, I mean, he threw up all over the Japanese prime minister. But other than that, like he didn't have any big gaffes either. Like, and that was just that was just coincidental and hilarious. That wasn't like a gaffe. That was he got food poisoning or something and just like blew chunks all over the table while they were having a meeting.
No, you don't understand. Chunks is my dog. That one did always get me. Like, I don't know, dude. You think like, especially like you'll be like, okay, fucking excuse me for a minute. Like, I gotta go fucking puke. Like, I guess he just realized it too late that there was no backing out of that vomit.
Yeah.
I mean,
that sucks.
HW wasn't young when he was in office. I mean, he wasn't like Biden old, but he wasn't young. So, like, you know, if I feel like I'm going to throw up, I've got enough diaphragm control that I can hold it down long enough to sprint out of the room. But
Yeah.
Was HW doing much sprinting at that point in his life? Like
Fair.
Oh, the dude was skydiving like well into his 90s, wasn't he? So
maybe
Yeah, but
he was just trying to.
professional.
Maybe he was just trying to end it early. Like
yeah.
he kept
So he
thinking
was
this will be the last one. Like the parachute will malfunction, and I can just
Well, he
go
was a
out.
paratrooper in the military, right?
I think that's right.
In World War II. I think there was actually, I think I saw a video, like one time he jumped out of a plane and got hit by the fucking tail fin or something. I was watching some history thing and they showed it happen and they were like, oh, by the way, that guy there is George Bush who just got hit by the fucking tail plane. Not important to this story, but we want to point that out. But that was that guy. So.
HW was actually kind of a badass. Like for as much.
I mean, I
as we
hate
can-
him.
Right.
Yeah.
As I say, for as much as we can hate him for the fact that, the Iraq War and everything that he did as a horrible warmonger, he was pretty badass. And like he was, if you've read anything about him, like historically, he was like outside of, what he did as a president, he was a pretty good dude. Like Jimmy Carter's the same way. Like everybody talks about how Carter was the worst president ever.
HW was fucking like CIA, like fucking like assassinating Kennedy and shit.
Yeah, he
what are you
killed
talking
Kennedy,
about?
man.
I mean, I guess if you're saying that makes him a good guy, okay. But I'm sorry, I don't like spooks.
I think he's Justin
CIA
might be
people,
talking comparatively speaking here, maybe.
Yeah,
Right.
maybe. But
Right. Look, like when the bar,
I was gonna
the
say,
bar
like,
is
for Jimmy
already
Carter
down
in it,
here.
yeah.
If like all you, I think I've made the analogy before. When the bar is already that low, all you have to do is step over it. Like just don't trip
Yeah.
and fall on your face. That's kind of where we are on the
I still
presidential run.
contend if I'm going to hang out with anybody from the 20th century, it's Richard Nixon. It's Tricky Dick. That's my guy.
Tricky Dick. You just want to be able to call him that.
But,
What's up, Tricky Dick?
yeah, what's up, President Tricky Dick?
So is it true? Are the rumors true? Yeah, Jimmy Carter though. Yeah, I think that was like he was just like supposedly just like this nice old peanut farmer. Somehow I don't really know much about how he got in that position, but like I said, he definitely seems like he's trying the hardest to stay out of hell. Out of all of them, I give him that. I do.
Well, we want to get into the show topic for today, or the prime topic of today's show. I don't know.
I don't. They
There's a
get
lot
caught
we-
now. They just don't get the same sort of crap as Nixon did.
Right. I was
Well,
gonna say
Trump
Nixon.
did, but
Nixon was put in that position because he was supposed to be the continuation of the war hawk military-industrial complex that they wanted for a president, especially after what Kennedy did, which resulted in them having to get rid of him in the manner that they did. So like Nixon was supposed to get back to the status quo of war hawking, and then once he got in, for all the bad things that Nixon did, taking us off the gold standard and everything else, he also was not entirely a shill to what they were wanting to be done with some of the war continuation and stuff like that. And so it's not that the others don't get caught. They all get caught. It's whether or not it gets released. And he was no longer beneficial to the goals of the people who actually pull the strings, so he had to go.
he also engaged in a war with the media back to his vice presidential days. So they had a vendetta against him.
It also depends on who like uncovers the malfeasance, right? Because like when Nixon uncovered Alan Dulles' malfeasance of helping Nazis escape Germany, he didn't turn him in. He blackmailed him and used that to begin his political career. He had Alan Dulles fund his governorship. So, if the people who discovered Watergate thing had been such little pricks, maybe they could have blackmailed him and gotten something they wanted to. I think it really is just when you catch somebody doing something in politics, it's not like I'm going to expose you. It's like, oh yeah, I'm getting a bump up.
I mean, shit. If I had dirt on anybody, that's what I'd be doing. Like,
Go with that first.
I would never have to work another day in my life.
And as old Walter Block says, blackmail is immoral. So. Yeah.
So let's get to today's show topic.
Let's do it.
First of all,
let's get
to the aesthetics here. It makes sense for Dag to be the Italian prime minister. Justin, it would make sense that you and you're Scottish or Irish? Scottish, just took a boat over to England and took it over. Do I look like I fit into Japanese culture?
Look, if you would have read the write-up for today's show, you would understand. But clearly you did not.
That's all right. I will hang out with my Japanese brethren and
I said you're trying. I said we're going to send you over.
Cool.
Yeah, we're going to send you to Japan and let you help them reach the fruition of what they started with in World War II with saddling up to the Nazis.
I would say out of all of us, I think Mark would fit in better in Japan.
Well, that was kind of part of it too. Like Dag is a clear fit for Italy. Clyde is like the natural pick for France with that beautiful mustache and his little gay hats, and me with my southern accent and Scottish ancestry. I'm very clearly the British. I mean, I guess we could. I don't know why I should have pulled this one up instead. We could always just send Mark to Estonia, wherever
I'll stick with Japan. That's fine.
Mark seems nice and mellow and sweet. Like it's like in Japan, like everybody's nice and quiet. That's why I always said I wouldn't fit in there. I'm a stupid, loud American, so I just be like really rude. They don't even talk on their phones in public over there. It's crazy.
In Japan.
Yeah, like on the subway, it's just considered rude to talk on your phone.
Yeah.
So people don't. My cousin went there, and he said they saw one person talking on their cell phone, and he was holding up his briefcase and like hiding behind his briefcase to talk on his cell phone because he was so embarrassed that he had to take the call or whatever. But yeah, it's one of those really interesting things where it's like, okay, it's not like there's laws that dictate they act this way. It's culture.
It's like a culture thing.
Yeah, it just really is a really amazing thing. When you go from area to area, the different culture and how people just act so differently. Just I don't know, it's crazy. But anyhow.
Well, when I get over there, most people won't be allowed to have phones. So
to answer Trey's question, Macron is being forced to resign. It was reported earlier in the week. He had some shady dealings with Uber in allowing Uber into the country. That was I can't remember exactly how it was worded. More or less, it was selling out to private business and allowing certain companies to get a lot of profit and stuff at the expense of French companies and the French people in general. And so they basically said, this is unethical and you're out. So yes, Macron is being forced out. Boris Johnson stepped down voluntarily under pressure. The Italian prime minister is resigning, or the Italian prime minister turned in his resignation, and then the president rejected it. So I'm not sure how that's going to work out. And then the Estonian prime minister has also resigned. And hers is pretty interesting. Like the way they worded in the headline here: Estonian Prime Minister Kallas resigns to form a new government.
That's interesting. That's fucking interesting, man.
There was another country that recently did this. I can't remember where though. So they resigned. They all just get together and like build their new constitution.
Like in the same place, like over the same territory, or are they like? Is this like a secession kind of thing?
I mean, it sounds like the people just don't like the way the government is operating, so they're just going to disband it and then do something different. Like, how do we convince the American people that that's the way to do it? Like, it's just, this isn't working. Like everybody's pissed off at each other. Let's just disband the whole thing, and then we'll figure something else out.
Yeah, the right to abolish or alter. with one of the presidential debates in 2020, I noticed they had like the Constitution like on the wall behind the thing, or the Declaration of Independence. I don't fucking know, but it had that line: "The right to alter or abolish, if we see fit." And that was like right behind like the speaker, like you were looking right at it. I'm like, wow, I cannot believe they had that line front and center, because that kind of sort of seems like the one part they want to, sweep under the rug.
Oh, let's see.
Okay, so the same territory, yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So she's there. She is the first female prime minister of Estonia, and they are now having the highest inflation rates of all of the European Union, with inflation hitting 22% in June, and high energy costs are the primary reason for that. So according to her, I will form a new government. According to the Constitution, the current government will resign.
I will form a new government according to the Constitution. I just did not. So
is it going to be the same people, the same politicians?
It says that the country is going to hold a general election in March. So they've got a few months to figure that out, I guess. Yeah, like none of this is happening super quick. Like the Boris Johnson resigning, they have to pick a new leader for the majority party. So Boris, even though he resigned, he'll remain the prime minister for probably a couple months until they are able to convene an election and select somebody to replace him. The same for Macron in France. They have to do the same thing. So he'll probably be in power, or he'll probably remain the prime minister most likely through the end of the year, if not at least till like October or November. Estonia, they're disbanding everything, but they're not holding elections until March. So everything will kind of remain in place more or less for the next 9 months. So it's none of this stuff is like super fast process, except for Sri Lanka, where they overran the presidential palace, and that motherfucker literally fled the country, like ran out of the presidential palace and jumped on a boat and said, "I quit." So like that's, if you want to see real change and you want to actually get it done quickly and not have to wait around for a few months while they pick a new leader, that seems to be kind of the blueprint.
Not that these people are. Oh, I'm sorry.
No. Go ahead.
I was just saying, not that these people are necessarily calling very important shots, but when I resign, like I'm done. Like I'm not sticking around for 3 months for them to figure out who's going to take my place. Like,
you want me to train my replacement? Fuck you.
I might retire into the sunset.
Especially
well, not really sunset in Boris Johnson's case. It's all foggy there, but.
Well, especially if you're in like Macron's position where you're being forced out. Like, y'all are forcing me to resign. Fuck you. I'm done. Like,
yeah, no kidding.
Like, yeah, I'm not sticking.
So when I see like in the instance here where they're like, oh, we're going to resign and form a new government, like, and it's happening somewhere else, my first thought is like, oh, that's cool. Like, it's like seems positive. But then I start thinking about it. Like, if let's say it was happening in a country I lived in and they said that, I'd have to be like, oh, so what the fuck's the new one going to be? You know what I mean? Like, I'd be horrified that the new one would be like way worse, right? Like this is just, basically like maybe something similar is going on here with what we've been talking about with, with old pedo Pete up there, that it's like, oh, this isn't working, so we're going to do some new thing now. But I'm terrified of the new thing, right? Like the new thing's the thing that you should be scared of. So like, but when I see it happening somewhere else, I'm like, oh, cool, good for them. I don't know.
I mean, there might be a lot of people in Estonia who aren't real thrilled.
Yeah,
they weren't real thrilled with the current thing, and they might be even more scared of the next thing.
Guess we'll just have to wait and see. Yeah.
Pray for our Estonian brethren. I'm all about the brethren today.
At least you're nibbling the banana today and not like deep throating it. That was a little awkward.
I got bananas. I seriously considered getting 2 of them and just like having 2 like just coming out of nowhere with 2 of them today.
You gotta wait for Clyde for that.
was like, there's no way I'm going to finish 2 bananas, though.
Well,
That's what she said.
speaking of Mark's love of deep throating bananas,
We talked about HW. Wasn't Deep Throat the name of the? Oh, that was. I mean, we talked about Nixon.
Nixon.
Deep Throat was
Yeah.
the. Was it Deep Throat or Cutthroat? I can't remember.
Deep Throat, the informant.
Yes.
Yeah. He obviously didn't get the sexual reference and how much everybody giggled when he said that's the name. He said his name's Deep Throat, guys.
Oh, there was the reason I said HW first because wasn't there like wasn't he considered one of the guys because he was CIA? But I thought that he might be Mr. Deep Throat. I don't know.
Yeah. But there have been rumors to that effect. I mean, you know, how does one get into a position of relative power within the government structure? Like to get that high, you don't just stumble into it. You know? Everybody's got connections.
That's why there's a Clinton body count.
You're not supposed to say that out loud. You end up as part of the body count.
That's true.
Speaking of CIA connections,
I'm not suicidal.
NASA.
Homophobic telescope reveals first high-res images of
Really
deep
trying to
space.
get to this.
I was just waiting for one of y'all to say something about it.
I did it. Oh, why is why is it homophobic? I haven't seen this yet.
It's named after, so it's the James Webb Space Telescope, and apparently James Webb oversaw the Lavender Scare during his tenure at NASA. The Lavender Scare was a McCarthy-era moral panic in which suspected queer employees were exposed and purged from government positions.
Based.
I mean, NASA was run by Nazis. So obviously, Nazis aren't going to have a whole lot of use for homos, so they were going to run them out.
Well, so in Mark's defense here, at the time, if it was McCarthy era, at the time, homosexuality was listed as a mental disorder in the, what's that book? The SDM, fucking whatever, the mental health book.
BDSM?
It was listed. Yeah, that's what I want to say, but I know that's not right.
Where are we going with this?
But that was listed as a mental defectivity. So I mean, if they were just going by the book, what are they supposed to do?
That and communism, I don't see any issue with it.
Well, also what's funny to me too was okay, we're talking. The dude was probably a fucking Nazi. Also, we're talking about 1940s and 50s NASA. Come on.
Oh, now you're confusing my brain. Keep the guy right now.
So many layers to the onion, man.
Yeah.
So they want the gay and trans activists want the name of the telescope to be changed. It's not that the telescope itself is homophobic. It's because it was named after the guy who was in charge of the who was in charge of NASA at the time of the Lavender Scare. That's why they deemed it homophobic. And they want it changed to because it's currently the JWST or whatever, the James Webb Space Telescope. They want it changed to the Just Wonderful Space Telescope. There's also
literally gay.
Yeah, they want it to be as gay as possible. There's also been suggestion that they change it to the Harriet Tubman Space Telescope because Harriet Tubman
got lots of things.
Harriet Tubman looked at the stars to navigate the Underground Railroad. I mean, if you're on a railroad, don't you just go whatever direction the tracks go? I don't understand how this works.
Yeah,
Also, you
leave
leave
on, so what?
So anyway, yeah, these are the suggestions. Is Just
Also,
Wonderful or Harriet Tubman, and I'm surprised they haven't actually done it. Just because, I mean, maybe NASA does still have enough Nazis in charge that they're like, nah, we're not doing that, because that has been their stance up to this point. Is yeah, we understand you're mad, but fuck you, we don't want to do that.
I've also heard middle-aged black women in the 2000s talk about gays before, and they say worse things than I do. So I highly doubt Harriet Tubman would have been on their side.
That's
You
probably
don't
true.
think so? Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably not.
I thought we were going to get Harriet Tubman on the $10 bill or something. How come that didn't happen?
They've been trying to get her somewhere.
20. It was the 20.
Is it 20? I'm cool with
Yeah.
that.
Wait.
It's better be the picture of her holding a gun.
I'm saying, who's on the 20 now?
They're taking my boy Andrew Jackson off?
Right. That's
Yeah,
kind of.
Jackson.
I hate it here.
I don't give a fuck who's on the money. I just want a black chick with a gun on one of the bills. That's all.
Who's on the 50?
Grant?
I think so.
Oh, fuck that dude. She should definitely go on in place of him.
Is it Franklin on the 100s?
Yeah.
Wow, I got real like angry Southern there for a second. I'm not bitter at all. I'm actually my Wednesday episode for next week is going to be talking about the comparison of the overturning of Roe versus Wade and the compromises of 1820, 40 or 1820, 30 and 50 leading up to the Civil War. It's a Washington Post article. I've read about half of it, and I could probably dedicate a good 45 minutes to destroying just everything that they've said in the first half of it. So I'm going to have to really kind of pace myself on exactly what I cover on. But yeah, it's pretty fucking bad. Anyway, that's neither here nor there.
You wear that shirt a lot, Justin.
It's a very comfortable shirt. I like it.
Cool.
What is
Mostly,
it?
is
Is that a bridge that I'm seeing here?
yes, it's a bridge. It's the Golden Gate Bridge.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah, really good. It's a comfortable shirt. It feels nice. I like
you
it.
could just be
Gayest bridge in the
pro
gayest city.
homeless people who like to poop on the streets. I don't know.
Wow.
Where have you been to San Francisco?
No. The furthest west I've been is Colorado.
That's more west than I've been.
Where have you been?
You know, for as far as like west goes, maybe like San Antonio, and I know that's not really. I guess that's maybe southwest, but yeah,
It's southwest-ish.
yeah.
San Diego. And then, Alaska and shit. I actually got invited to a wedding in San Diego in a few months.
You going?
I don't know, man. I haven't been on a plane since 2014.
14.
Weird. Yeah, it's going to be weird. So I don't know. I got to figure out if I can do it. I mean, I'd like to, I guess. But I don't know. I got a lot of fucking shit going on.
Oh fuck! I haven't been on a plane since 2014 either.
No shit. Plane buddies.
It was when I was living in Jersey and traveling back and forth. The little airport in Trenton I could fly from Trenton straight to Evansville, which is really weird, but it was convenient.
Hells yeah.
Yeah. I haven't been on a.
2019 here.
So none of us have attempted to fly post-COVID.
I don't really like to fly anyways. I prefer to drive.
I do too. Like we went out to Lockhart to Buck's place in October, and I just drove. It's like 12 hours on the nose, and it's not like a bad trip. I dropped my kids off with my parents and just shot across Arkansas out into Texas and just drove down through. It was really nice. I just rolled the windows. It was like early October, so I just put the windows down and rolled. It was really nice. But then my wife flew down and her flight got delayed like 6 times. She was supposed to get in at like 5 o'clock that afternoon and didn't get in until like close to midnight, and had to like spend that whole time sitting in the airport with a mask on and all that dumb bullshit. It's like, yeah, you should have skipped work and just ridden down with me instead of doing all this flying bullshit.
Yeah, I already didn't like sitting in airports or airplanes, and I would have been brutal. The mask and all that crap. People aren't wearing masks.
Classy. Like flying makes you feel important and classy.
Yeah.
So that's like the thing I kind of liked about it.
Then they hand you the bag of 3 pretzels.
Yeah, like a king. I definitely always drink on the plane, though.
Excuse me?
I definitely always drink on the plane.
Oh, they said jerk off on a plane.
No. I don't think I've ever done that.
Wow. Well,
I don't think I've ever done that.
speaking of jerking
Pretty sure I
off,
haven't done that. Oh yeah. So Ivana Trump dead. Former President Trump's ex-wife found at bottom of staircase in NYC home. I thought, like, it's in the name, like that was like
Wait,
his
this is
current
real?
wife. But that's
Yes.
not. What's his current wife's name? Because his daughter's
Melania.
Ivanka. Maybe that's what I was.
This is Ivanka's
Yeah.
mom, right?
right?
Yeah.
Ivana is Ivanka's mom. His current wife is Melania. Like they
That's
were
what
all the libtards acted like it was some terrible thing that he like got him a Russian bride or something. Like it's not like this was the first one. Like he's done that before. It's not like that's kind of his preference.
taste.
It would seem. Yeah. Like I like tall, skinny chicks. He likes
Obama likes
Russian,
men. I mean, everyone's got their thing.
Trump likes Russian mail order brides. That's everybody's.
They're
got theirs.
both worldly men.
Let's see. Ivana Trump, the Czech-American businesswoman and ex-wife of former President Donald Trump, died Thursday in Manhattan. She was 73. Let's see. She is the mother of Donald Jr., Eric, and Ivanka. And let's.
Oh, she's like the mom of all of them, except for 7'8" Baron.
Yeah. Is he going to play in the NBA or what? He's probably too white for that.
He looks a little uncoordinated.
Donald said, "I'm very saddened to inform all those that loved her, of which there are many, that Ivana Trump has passed away in her home in New York City. She was a wonderful, beautiful, and amazing woman who led a great and inspirational life. They were investigating whether she may have fallen down the stairs. She was found at the bottom of the staircase and believed to have suffered cardiac arrest." So are we allowed to ask the question surrounding the cardiac arrest?
I'm sure she got it.
Why did Hill Dog have her killed? Question.
Shoot, there's like 2 of them now. Like when someone dies, it's either what did he have against Hillary, or did he get the shot? Or she.
Oh yeah, that thing.
Yeah, you're regretting not getting it, Dag. I hear you're a little under the weather these days.
Well, all I can say is that it wouldn't have been nearly this bad if I would have gotten the shot. So, it's one thing I know for sure.
This is the copy pasta.
Yeah.
I keep telling you, all you got to do is like a whole bunch of yard work. Just go sit on the riding mower for about 4 hours in 90-degree heat and just sweat it all out, and you'll be good.
Ooh. I sweated most of it out last night. It was pretty rough. It was not fun. Definitely feeling better today, though, so that's good. That's good. I think I have the weekend off, so.
Rested off.
That's
Well,
right.
speaking of not so mild temperatures and going outside to sweat it out, Joe Manchin is once again setting climate hopes on fire. Man, this guy's my hero. I tell you what, I never thought I would have so much respect for a Democratic senator, but here he is, just like I'm strongly considering replacing that picture of Captain America with a picture of Joe Manchin. We're getting that close.
I was gonna say earlier I was gonna put a McCarthy picture behind me. So
Based. I hate that. I hate when people say that.
I already said it once today.
I
I
know.
apologize.
I try hard not to hate you for it every time you do it.
I don't think I say it a whole lot.
After negotiations that sparked hope in the hearts of Democratic lawmakers on finally revising some of the president's climate policy, coal-rich maceration owning or
I can't.
coal-rich Maserati owning West Virginia Senator Joe Manchin has brought up a new round of concerns. This time, it's about the nation's historic 9.1% inflation rate. What does his Maserati have to do with anything else? I don't like.
Yeah.
Are they are
bad
they
for the,
trying to paint
environment.
Joe Manchin as the bad guy because he has money
He has a
and
Maserati.
drives a Maserati? Like, what about fucking Nancy Pelosi, who, what was it? She openly disclosed like $5 million worth of holding in some company that she is now trying to push legislation for Congress to put like $50 billion into that same company that she has disclosed having $5 million worth of shares or worth of stock in. Like, it's wrong for Joe Manchin to own a Maserati, but it's okay for Nancy Pelosi to pump government money into a company that she has huge holdings in. Like, what the?
Yes, it is okay because she doesn't squash the environment or whatever this headline says.
No matter what spending aspirations some in Congress may have, it is clear to anyone who visits a grocery store or a gas station we cannot add any more fuel to this inflation fire, Manchin said this week. Democrats in the Senate are hustling to pass a historic climate-centered spending bill before the August recess. Last week, talks between Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and Manchin began to show some signs of promise that Manchin would eventually yield his approval for the current version of the bill. But as of this week, Manchin says he's too worried about skyrocketing prices, which has set back negotiations between him and Democratic lawmakers eager to get his approval as soon as possible. And this has kind of been his shtick for the last couple of years, is they want to do something. He tells them no. They can't do it without him. And so then they go to negotiate with him. They make compromises on stuff. They think that he's going to ultimately agree to it. And then at the end, he's like, yeah, but what about inflation? We can't be spending any more money. Sorry. My hero. He's my hero.
I'm honestly surprised that he hasn't. They haven't been able to manipulate him and influence him towards their side.
They don't have a way to get him out of office. Like, they can't primary him where he is, because the only people that they could primary him with would be somebody that's like super woke and progressive, and the people of his district aren't going to vote for that. Like, he is in coal heavy West Virginia. He is from a part of the country that is it's those blue dog Democrats. Like, they're all a bunch of conservatives who have been voting for Democrats literally forever. So they're going to vote for a Democrat, but if it's not somebody like a Manchin who is a little more conservative leaning, they're not going to vote for him. So like they don't have an avenue to get him out, because they can't primary him with anybody. They don't have the dirt on him to get him out. Otherwise they'd have already done it. Like, they're kind of stuck with him, whether they like it or not. It's either that, or if they did like force him out, that would probably be what forces that district to actually vote for a Republican. And then they really fuck themselves. So like, do you take do you stick with the Democrat who doesn't vote for the things you want him to, or do you let it go to a Republican who's absolutely not going to vote for anything you ever want, period?
Not a West Virginia one, anyway.
Right.
You get Susan Collins or whatever those other stupid Republicans. I can't even think of the real bad ones. There are the bad ones, and then there are the real bad ones.
That the guillotines comment there, it was really weird. Like, when I went to Wisconsin, we don't really have unions down here, but there was a lot of people up there that I met who were like, they would be conservative. They were down here, they would be a Republican voter all day long, but they were union people and they were Democrat voters, and it was just really weird that it was just so, like, you see a lot of those states up there, like, they're blue, but it's like, I don't know, it seems surprising, but it does seem like it's just about unions, and I mean, oh man, it was I mean, in people's lawns, they'd have signs. This is a union household, and we only hire you. And I mean, like, it was just so fucking crazy. Like, it was just really unique because that's something that I haven't seen down here. That kind of political discourse compared up there, just everything being so based on unions.
So that's
Michigan's really similar, especially the UP.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I had I had a buddy from Michigan, and yeah, he would have been he would have been a Republican all day long, but him and his whole family were Democrats, but they were, his dad worked for GM 40 years on a fucking assembly line, Oh, fuck.
I guess that's the interesting thing around here is a lot of the like really, really pro-union folks have started to shift in their voting. Like the union supported Obama, but a lot of the union officially supported Obama, but most of the people in the union did not vote for Obama. And then in 2016, they all voted for Trump, even though they were, the union supported the Democrats, the actual union members did not. So it's interesting to see how that's kind of shifted in different parts of the country. And yeah, I mean, that's the way it is around a lot of that part of the world. The Appalachians up into West Virginia and Pennsylvania it's very rural. It's very conservative leaning, but they also vote Democrat just because of the union thing. It's such a weird dynamic. And I don't understand what that. I don't know if it seems like there would be a better way for conservatives to attack that problem. Because it's if you are a one issue voter like that, and on an issue that's, I don't know, maybe because I've always been management and I've never been a part of the union, and I've generally had currently I don't have a bad relationship with the union that I work with, and in my last job I didn't, but in the grain industry and stuff like that, the union was a dirty word. If you even mentioned union, there was a 100% chance you were going to get fired that afternoon, because unions were everywhere in the grain industry that had unionized went immediately into the shitter. So if somebody even started to sniff around at the talk of union out loud, it was you get fired that afternoon, period. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And so yeah, I mean, there are issues with the union that I don't understand why it's such a hardcore Democratic backing. There are areas of that it seems like the conservatives could make a lot of inroads with if they just I don't know, put forth a minimal amount of effort.
If you're in a union heavy area, it's yeah, you think that you could be yeah, I know I'm Republicans, but unions are all right, and maybe you could, it wouldn't be that hard to say that. But, well, and I don't think that it doesn't fit in with the whole platform of the whole national thing. So maybe that's the problem.
And I don't know that it's necessarily that, I don't know that conservatives necessarily are opposed to private unions. I think it's the public unions, like the teachers unions, the police unions, the government workers unions. I think those are the ones that are primarily opposed. If you work in a coal mine and you're unionized, cool, that's more power to you. You probably need that. Same for steel mills and stuff like that. Those are probably legitimately good things for the most part. I know, for some of the industries I've worked in, I don't understand what the union does. It doesn't seem to have a lot of benefit as far as what the job does, and it's not like they're super dangerous jobs or something like that. Like coal mining or steel mill work, stuff like that. But yeah, I think generally speaking, the thing that conservatives tend to stand against are the teachers unions, police unions, the big public unions that are a drain on taxpayer dollars, not private unions.
When I worked at Walmart for a brief stint, and I remember the training videos they were showing us was anti-union stuff. There was little sketches of somebody would be hey, I think we're gonna form a union, and the other Walmart employee would be oh no, unions are go on some rant about how unions suck and they're bad for everyone. That was kind of funny. Anti-union propaganda. I mean, I'd say if you need a union for your job at Walmart, you just need to get some skills, get a better job.
I would like to have you as my Walmart greeter, Dag.
Okay. Maybe I'll do that when I get older. The Walmart greeters now, they don't greet you on the way in. They're just checking your shit on the way out. Do they do that
Oh,
for
really?
y'all?
No,
Yeah,
I mean
yeah,
I
not
don't.
really.
I go to Meijer, not Walmart, but yeah.
Yeah. Get the fuck off my property. Yeah, now, or at least here, yeah, it's not a greeter. They don't really greet you when you, it's a reverse thing when you leave. Every now and then they ask to see your receipt and they sort of look at it.
I saw their dicks.
Yeah. Yeah. Now they're just like, loss prevention people. You ever try to find the loss prevention people at your Walmart? You ever notice them walking around? So there's usually one or two, maybe at a time, and they walk around on the floor. And sometimes they'll pretend to be on a cell phone, or they pretend to be shoppers. But if you go to a Walmart enough times, and you can sort of notice the people, you pick them out, But it's funny, man. You'll see them like reading like a magazine and like looking over the magazine, watching like some teenagers and shit. And they just follow people around the store basically to see if they're shoplifting.
I do. One of the Meijers I go to, I definitely have noticed one particular woman who never seems to buy anything and is just spying on people. But
yeah,
they have people who look to see what people are buying too. Like there's also this happening in these giant chains.
But you think with that, then they could just go by receipts, right?
Yeah,
like because they're buying it, they wouldn't have to stalk them.
that's true.
Maybe they want to see what products they put back.
Yeah, what are people picking up and then they decide they don't want?
Yeah. Ew. Put it back down.
Israel is the gayest country.
Study shows 1/3 of Israelis are bisexual. Welcome to Tel Aviv, the gayest city on earth. Israel is becoming a safe haven for pedophiles with law that allows any Jews to legally return, activists claim. Yeah, so once again, fuck them Jews.
1/3 are bisexual.
I don't think
That's
they're God's chosen people anymore. Maybe we should, stop supporting them. Just an idea.
This was the line for you, huh?
That's wild.
Let's see. Speaking of gay shit, since they had to make Lord of the Rings go woke, we got to do the same thing with Game of Thrones. House of the Dragon showrunners didn't want another bunch of white people in the Game of Thrones spinoff. Like,
Wasn't the show already ruined?
well, they ruined the last couple seasons of it because now see, that's George R.R. Martin's fault. He never finished the fucking series. He stopped. Like, supposedly he's still writing and he's going to finish it, but he hasn't. So by the time they got to the last 2 or 3 seasons of the show, they had run out of source material, and so they were just kind of making it up as they went. And you could tell when they ran out of source material, and the show writers were starting to create the show on their own because it like completely fell off. And the last season was, I don't want to say it was just complete horse shit terrible, but it was pretty damn close to complete horse shit terrible.
So you're telling me that one person in charge of the writing is better than a bunch of show writer people are?
Look, I'm not saying Machiavellianism is the way to go, but it sure seems to work out pretty well for the arts.
And maybe not just the arts.
Yeah, I mean,
it's efficient. I'll give you that.
by God, I mean the current
for better or worse, it's efficient.
Yeah, the current thing we have is anything but efficient. So
Hey, speaking of Italy, those trains ran on time, Dag.
That's what I hear. Oh fuck.
I never thought about that.
What did you
George
think about?
Railroad Martin.
That George R.R. Martin he's already finished the books and he's waiting to release them post mortem so he doesn't have to deal with the critics whenever they come out. I think he can be dead and not deal with it.
He seems kind of like a cuck.
I don't think he's ever going to finish them. Like the TV series ended it, and so now what's his motivation? Because either he finishes it and he finishes it in a completely different way than the TV series finished, in which case then you have all this controversy, or he finishes it and he kind of rounds it out the same way that the TV series did, but maybe writes it better. But then, like, what was the fucking point? You know, it's like I just don't see that he would have any motivation to actually, carry it to its end.
Did you guys read the books?
I've read the first two. I have.
Fred has read them. He loves them.
Yeah, they're really good. I mean, I have the other three. I haven't read them yet, but I was kind of hoping that he would finish it, and then I would just read it all in one setting, kind of like. That's what I did with the Lord of the Rings. I read The Hobbit, and then I just read through the entire Lord of the Rings. And
we don't even want to start if he's not going to finish. You know.
Yeah, that's how I kind of feel about it. Like I read the first two because the TV show was out, and then it was like, well, I'd like to wait until he's done and read all of it to its fruition, and it's not happened. So here we are. Speaking of taking things to their fruition, have y'all been keeping track of the?
I've been keeping track of anything.
Obviously, the 10-year-old rape victim in Ohio.
You want to say it a little louder for the show?
What?
Oh, I did. You know what? I did hear a little bit about this. She. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead. Go.
So she was raped by someone who was living with her, right?
The guy who they arrested and are charging with it is some illegal who's here in the country that just the Ohio Attorney General's office came out and said there is no evidence that this actually happened. There has been no reports of rape of a 10-year-old from doctors or anything, which is illegal for the doctor. Like if as a doctor you see a patient and there is obvious signs of rape, abuse, molestation, whatever, you have to report that to the police. There are no police reports of this. There are no rape kits. There is nothing that would back that this happened, period, at all. And then at the time, the only evidence of it happening was this report from this Indiana doctor that says that she did this. There's no other corroborating evidence other than this doctor who said it. Well, then after the Ohio Attorney General comes out and says all of that, I think 3 days later, maybe 4 days later, this random illegal turned himself into police and told them that he raped this 10-year-old. Everything about his story seemed way too fucking fishy. And then and now the Indiana Attorney General is looking to go after the doctor.
So she went into Indiana from Ohio or the other way around?
Yeah, they supposedly took the 10-year-old from Ohio to Indiana to have the abortion.
I would actually suspect that Indiana had more restrictive abortion laws than Ohio. So that part's kind of surprising to me.
So that's what they're charging her with, because she says that she did this abortion, but they are looking into it to determine whether or not she filed the legally required reports.
And when was this all supposed to have occurred?
Almost immediately after Roe versus Wade was overturned, like
Yeah,
within a
like,
week.
it's kind of sloppy to. I mean, if it's real, then
So
obviously.
that's the thing is there would be a paper trail that this happened, and to this point, none of that exists. Like there's no nothing. It's just hearsay of a doctor. So now they're gonna go after the doctor, and if she actually did this and didn't do any of the paperwork, then they're gonna suspend her license, and there could possibly be other criminal charges for that. If she or if she didn't actually do it and the whole thing was fabricated, then that'll come out. Like then you get to find out how invested is she to the story and who's putting money in her pocket to tell the story. Because like if it's more profitable for her to lose her license and possibly do 90 days in jail for having done this and just say, yeah, I did it and I didn't do the paperwork, then like I mean, there's a lot of fishy shit going on with this. Like, I mean, all right, let's say you don't have to worry about working ever again, and you got to file a false report, and either your choices are admit that it was a false report, which doesn't fit the narrative, and then you've got whoever is backing you on this shit down your throat, or just do some jail time, say, yeah, I didn't file the paperwork, and take those consequences and get to go on being rich and also having this. I mean, she could be the next what's that Asian bitch that was the she came on like
Boston
CNN.
Marathon.
Yeah,
lady.
yeah.
And then she became the COVID lady.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember her name. I haven't seen her in a while though.
Well, the last couple times that she was actually on CNN, she was pitching pseudoscience nonsense, and everybody, like even people who were more COVIDiate than us, were calling her out on Leanna Wen or Wang or something like that.
Oh,
Win.
that cunt.
That's racist.
She's Asian. It's not racist. It's her actual fucking name. It's either Wen or Wang, and I don't.
Yeah, that's racist. You just assume.
Lin, I don't
It's
know.
not Win, it's Wang.
Wing dang
Wing,
doodle.
Could be Wing.
Win-win.
You know, someone asked me the rape thing the other day, and she's like, well, obviously it's like the emotional abortion question, and she's like, before you answer with the stats about how that's very rare and stuff, like just consider it happened to your niece or whatever, and like how would you feel or whatever. But I guess I'm not like convinced that obviously both like a 11-year-old or 10-year-old carrying a child to term is traumatic, but I would assume that performing an abortion on a 10-year-old would be super traumatic for her entire life too. So it's not like I'm convinced that carrying the child is more traumatic than performing the procedure.
I think that it's physically, like, I think at 10, I don't think you should be having kids at 10. Like, I don't think it's like.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Ready for that. I don't, like, it's like that would be like a survival issue, I think. At that point.
Yeah. But
for said mother. I mean, the whole thing is fucking tragic. I mean, like, no matter what, like, let's assume it's real. I mean, that happening to a 10-year-old is fucking awful.
But like in the original story, supposedly it was just like she was just like right outside of the. Okay, so the whole thing was they passed this new law in Ohio that the new heartbeat bill in Ohio that removes all exceptions and puts it at 6 weeks. And supposedly, with the initial story, this girl was like 7 weeks, and had been raped. Well, the new heartbeat bill doesn't go into effect for a while. Like it's still technically pending. So current law still applies. So like number one, it's fucking ridiculous because current law still applies. So she still would have been eligible. There was no reason to have gone to Ohio, even, and if she had actually seen a doctor, the doctor would have known that and told her that. Like number two, what kind of shitty fucking family waited 7 weeks to go do something about this if your 10-year-old was raped? Like, why hasn't there been a police report filed? What, like, the family should be charged for child abuse. Honestly, if that's the case, like that's ridiculously fucked up. I mean, I don't know, everything about it, just nothing adds up. And now, even, you know, going forward and everything that we've seen just over this last week with the guy turning himself in randomly, like,
It's like, look, we need somebody
Yeah.
step forward.
I mean, the Democrats are all about the illegals, and I'm sure they know where they are and who they are. They found a guy, and they're like, "Hey,
You raped a girl.
either you rape this 10-year-old, or you're going to get deported, and you don't want to know what we're going to do to you in that process." So,
Don't worry. People in prison love child rapists, though. You'll do great.
yeah.
Because
Well, and that's the thing, is if they do actually, you know, I don't know how they would go about getting a conviction on that, because there is literally no evidence to either refute
They don't
or
need a conviction.
corroborate.
They just need an arrest for the story until people forget about it in a month.
And he's a 10-year-old. He raped a 10-year-old, so all they got to do is put him in the right holding cell, and he's going to get stabbed a few times, and then that's it.
Yeah,
the story's
that's
over.
true. Yeah.
You don't even have to worry about it anymore. It'll never go to trial, and that's the end of the game. Does it feel like they've gotten really lazy with the way they do all this shit? Like, none of this stuff's even believable anymore.
maybe they actually are retarded.
You need to give me like 3 seconds. I was trying to get.
Because democracy basically means government by the people, of the people, for the people. But the people are retarded.